Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name's Brian Craig, and the Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. If you need roof replacement or repair in the state of Florida, Tom Laporta is your guy. He's a good MAGA guy, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. He's online at laportaroofing.com. Okay, lots going on. Jesse Waters, I wanted to bring this up to you guys because I'm just very disappointed in this. Jesse Waters on the 5. He's gone after Trump. Let me read this to you. This is an article about what he did, Jesse Waters. And I will say, full disclosure, I've never liked Jesse Waters personally. Okay, I think he's kind of more than just a little bit full of himself. Never liked him, even back in the Bill O'Reilly days. However, I'm talking about his personality. However, his nighttime show, not the 5, his nighttime show is very, very good. He covers good topics, good issues. He's on point, relevant about what's going on, and he breaks a lot of stories there. But with that aside, I want to share this. What he's done here is a betrayal of Trump. And you can let me know in the comments whether you agree. Listen to this. This is the Daily Mail. Fox News host Jesse Waters criticized Donald Trump. Criticized Donald Trump. I have said since Trump came down the escalator, and I stand by this today, I will never criticize President Trump, and I will never disagree with President Trump. Okay? And that's just the way I believe you got to be with how serious things are in this country. Listen to this. Fox News host Jesse Waters criticized Donald Trump after his friend, a 20-year veteran, is among Elon Musk's Pentagon cuts in Doge's latest cost-saving initiative. On Wednesday, a report revealed that the Pentagon had provided the Trump administration with a list of probationary employees who could be targeted in the next slashes to the federal workforce. Waters took time on the 5 to criticize the administration's approach and share the story of a close friend of his who was preparing to be doged, they're calling it. I guess that's some new term. Doge means, you lose your job. And this is what Jesse Waters said. Let me tell you a story about Chris. Chris was a guy I met at a shooting event in New Jersey. Panelist Harold Ford interjected and said, was Chris in the interview another guy, male or female? And Waters said, let me finish. A 20-year veteran of the U.S. military, one of these guys in these elite units who has killed a lot of bad guys, put his life on the line. Now he has punched out after 20 years and has since been working for the Pentagon. And he's only been there a few months. So his probationary period time for him, and he just found out he's probably going to get laid off. He's going to get doged. Now, I got to tell you, this doged, I've never heard that used before. Maybe you guys have. I haven't. So Jesse's coined a new word, maybe. I don't know. Have you guys heard that before? Waters said that his friend had texted him, distraught over the recent move to cut those like him. He texted me and said, Jesse, this is not good. I'm really sad. I'm upset. This guy is not a DEI consultant. He's not a climate consultant. This guy is a veteran, Waters said. So when you're talking about doging people, veterans should get priority, because if you're going to go out there and kill enemies, put your life on the line, you should not be in the same category as people that are doing DEI, Waters argued. The host turned his attention back to the panel, jibed at Ford Jr., that Harold and his ilk, they like to talk about the slash and burn corporate ethos. He just needs to be a bit less callous with the way, Harold, we talked about doging people. I want that to sink in, Waters continued. I finally found one person I knew who got doged, and it hit me in the heart. That's what Jesse Waters said. So he's attacking President Trump and Elon. The host turned the conversation to where he believed the big ticket items for cost-saving initiatives lie that would spare the likes of his friend Chris. The Pentagon, you have a weapons program in some influential congressman's district. It's showing no promise in the theater of war. You cut that, and that's a big savings. So besides saving my friend Chris, we want bigger dividend Doge check rebates. Yeah, I want that. And I don't want to pay down the debt, put it back into the economy. So he's agreeing, give it back, give checks to the people. Despite Waters' objection, Doge has claimed to have already saved taxpayers $55 billion. It goes on. To criticize what Doge is doing here, which, Doge doesn't fire people. President Trump makes those decisions. And, I'm wondering, although he's very vague, Chris, it could, that might not even be the guy's real name, if the guy really even exists. But I don't like that he's taken to national television with this Doge word, this Doge phrase, because that's going to catch on like wildfire. They're all going to be using, it's going to be the root cause of it. Oh, someone Doge. Doge is not a negative. I've never heard this word before. I don't know if this guy exists or not. I don't know if he changed the name, if it's a composite. I don't know if he's searching for a story. A lot of people that are in the business I'm in, Jesse Waters is, obviously, it's a little different, but, a lot of people feel, and I don't, because I tell you, I will never disagree with President Trump and I will never criticize Trump. And that doesn't mean that he's done things that I disagree with or want to criticize that I'm keeping from you. I agree with everything he does. And, what President Trump is doing is so important. He doesn't need us or anyone criticizing him. Not that I want to. He's done nothing I would disagree with since he came down the escalator. He's been amazing. But a lot of people, and like I said, Chris is like that Pat skit on, that could be anything. Pat, Chris, Harold Ford. I don't think Harold Ford believed Jesse Waters. I think he thinks Jesse might have made that up because he didn't, because let me ask you, why would you single out someone like that? Believe me, the powers that be could figure out who his friend is at the Pentagon, but a lot of people that are in media, different forms, online media, television, and everything else, that are MAGA, that are conservative, they feel that if they don't criticize President Trump, every once in a while they'll lose credibility. Like, oh, I'm just a patsy. I'm just a pod person. I'm just a cult member. No, I think independently, and I'm going to tell you something I disagree with him on. So I'm wondering if that's in play. If someone has gotten to Jesse and said, "You're agreeing with Trump too much. You got to come out against Trump." Maybe I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Jesse's been in that inner circle. He's in that inner circle with Trump. He's the Trump sons came to his wedding to his former mistress, the mother of his new children, not his children with his first wife, and he's been in that circle. And for him to be critical of what they're doing when he understands what's going on, because his son, hey, listen, we all support veterans that are MAGA. We all support veterans. But just because someone is a veteran doesn't mean that they, get special treatment when working for the government. If this is the way it is, you can't say veterans. That's vague. Those transgender people that were in the service, they're veterans too. So should they get special treatment? No. But no, I'm wondering really if Jesse Waters made this whole thing up. What do you guys think? You think Jesse made this guy up so that he could sound as if he's taking issue with Trump to gain credibility? Maybe. Okay, now Kash Patel was officially confirmed. And on day one, when day one of the hearing, I on the podcast, I titled it "Confirmed," and I got a lot of negative feedback. Oh, he's not confirmed. I told you from the get-go that he was going to get confirmed, and everyone was going to get confirmed. Every one of Trump's picks was confirmed. And you know what? Matt Gaetz doesn't count. And I wonder if Trump put up Matt Gaetz, knowing he would have to withdraw him, so it would be easier for him to put somebody through that would. They can't object to everyone he puts up, so. He puts up Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. They object. Okay, we'll put up Pam Bondi, and it's right out of the art of the deal. Like Trump has conceded something where he maybe didn't. So I told you guys, Kash Patel confirmed. That was the thumbnail and the title on that podcast episode. Confirmed. And I told you they're all going to get confirmed. And the Senate, they're not there to. Have a hearing and advise and not confirm. Their duty, according to the Constitution, is to advise and consent. So they have their showboat hearings. They let the public and the president know what they think, and then they confirm. Advise and then consent. We don't like him. We like him. And then you confirm. Okay. And now we've got everybody in place that we need. This is when it happens. And, like this story of that just came out yesterday. I was talking about it on the radio this morning. The story that came out about Stacey Abrams, one of these groups that she's connected to, that she runs. Brand new group, brand new bank account. They had $100 in the bank account. And then the Biden regime puts $2 billion in her bank account. Come on. If someone put $2 billion in your account, that would set off all kinds of sirens. And the white collar division of the FBI is going to be working harder than they ever have before. What Elon Musk and Doge have done, that is just amazing. They have uncovered the largest financial scandal in the history of the planet Earth. This is a financial scandal bigger than anything. All right. All those Ponzi's and everything else, Teapot Dome, whatever you want to go back to. Nothing has even come close to being as scandalous as this. And it's not just USAID. They're running rackets in everything. And now we finally know how all these people are so wealthy. And another thing is, when we watch, these pundits, because Stacey Abrams became a pundit. She's a terrible person, but she became a pundit. And after she became a pundit, she's defending everything that the Democrats do. And a lot of the absurdities that have been going on with the Democrats, completely open border and organizing Invasion USA, all this trans stuff in sports and the military that's been going on. These are absurdities. And you ask, why are these Democrats, on television defending things that are so stupid? And now we know they're all getting paid. And they're not just getting paid a little bit. They're getting paid a lot. I'm starting to feel like a chump. I've gone through life honestly. Right? Making my money the old-fashioned way, earning it honestly, like President Trump, although not as much as I wish it was half as much as what President Trump has made. But these Democrats, and it's not exclusive to the Democrats. It's the entire Washington class, the Washington establishment. They've all gotten rich through all of these kind of deals. It's been going on for probably forever, but certainly since the end of the Second World War. Is when, I was on, I did an interview today. I was on Newsmax, which it hasn't aired yet, but I did an interview on Newsmax. It'll be airing soon. And the host, we were talking about Doge and said, should we really be, circumcisions somewhere in Africa we were paying for? And I said, do you really think, are we really paying for circumcisions, or are we paying for Hunter Biden's lifestyle or Stacey Abrams' $2 billion in her bank account? Right. And that organization that Stacey Abrams is with is so crooked. It was a brand new account for the organization, only had $100 in it. Then they deposited the $2 billion, right? $100, I'm assuming, is the minimum amount that the bank required to open up the account. So they wouldn't even put in $1,000 or anything. They just the bare minimum $100 to get that $2 billion. I mean, the Washington class with their thievery that has been uncovered by Doge. I mean, these are bank robbers that have been caught in the bank with the bags of money in their hand, and they're on TV defending it. And they have no idea how they sound. I give you an example is Governor Hochul. Let me pull this up. They have this absurdity in, here it is. Let me pull this up. They have this absurdity in New York, this congestion tax. I guess there's so many people in the city, so then they start charging you to come in. And of course, the Trump administration ended that. And then Governor Hochul comes out like an idiot. Listen.
At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. Oh. And we are not. We sure as hell are not going to start now. The streets of this city where battles were fought, we stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will.
Okay, so Stacey Abrams, Governor Hochul, yeah, she's bad too. They're both bad. Governor Hochul, she's so far gone in this money grab with this congestion tax. Anyone that had half a brain would understand no voter, no citizen likes that, a congestion tax. What is it? This is nuts. And to go out there and become a champion of a fee to enter the city is insanity. And she's so far gone in her corruption as a Democrat, Governor Hochul in New York, she doesn't even hear herself. And no one in her circle came out to stop her. You shouldn't say that, Gov. No. But what Governor Hochul did right there, I believe, in her weird, demented mind, she thinks she's going to run for president and be the Democrat nominee. That was almost kind of like her "I'm running for president" announcement. But, it's like, for example, here in Florida, we have a turnpike with the toll. If they ended the toll on the turnpike and then the governor came out the next day and said, no, we're bringing the tolls back, who would cheer that on? Who would say, oh, yeah, I'm so glad you have that toll back? She's out of her mind. Now, I want to tell you guys about Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Our promo code Kane you can use on all the specials at MyPillow.com, and there's so many. The 6-piece MyPillow towel set, less than $30. I mean, that's like really a must-have. Separate from the pillows, there's huge sales going on right now at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, and free shipping on all orders with our promo code Kane at checkout as well, Kane. And there's a huge discount going on the MyPillow mattress toppers. And my wife, Kathy, and I, we've been sleeping on the MyPillow mattress topper for years. It is life-changing. It turns your entire mattress into a big MyPillow. You will sleep deeper. You will sleep better than you ever have before. It comes in every mattress size there is. Okay, so go to MyPillow.com and load up. And remember, every time you use our promo code Kane at checkout, you're supporting all the content I bring you. The podcast, my YouTube channel, the radio show, all of it. And it's greatly appreciated. Promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. All right, we're going to take our first break. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast. We'll be back right after this. What if everything you've been told about life is only half the story? Do you ever feel like the game is rigged? Like no matter who's in power, the same invisible hands are pulling all the strings? You're not alone. Nobody Cares About the Chickens is a podcast for those who question the norm, crave deeper understanding, and believe curiosity is the key to growth. Host Charlie is a strategic advisor, hypnotherapist, and author of Pranoia Prescription. Nobody Cares About the Chickens connects the dots between science, philosophy, and culture, revealing unexpected paths to healing and transformation. Recent episode topics include You Are Against All Odds, proof that you matter more than you realize. Behind the Veil, unmasks the global elite's influence. Swipe Right, Marry Later, explores the hilarious world of modern romance. If you're ready to challenge the norm and rethink everything, add Nobody Cares About the Chickens to your podcast playlist on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast player. Because transformation starts with curiosity. Experience the mystery, elegance, and soothing power of Dark Night Candles. Only at candlesbyross.com. Handcrafted with care by Ross, the creator of the Dark Night Candle line. These luxurious candles are designed to ease anxiety, relieve stress, and bring a serene glow to your home. Each flame represents resilience, strength, and quiet sophistication. Infused with deep, evocative fragrances, Dark Night Candles are eco-friendly and handmade with care in the charming village of Grays Lake, Illinois. They're perfect for those who love modern luxury with a touch of mystique. Right now, enjoy free shipping and an exclusive buy two, get one free offer. No code needed. Shop the entire Dark Night Candle collection today at candlesbyross.com. Let their glow bring warmth and serenity to your space. The Dark Night Candle collection, where modern craftsmanship meets legendary spirit. Order now at candlesbyross.com. A loving mother, a daughter who vanishes without a trace, a riveting journey through the impossible. From author M.J. Jones comes Black Star, book 1 in the Black Star trilogy. In Black Star, meet Mia Black. She seemingly put the pieces back together after the tragic death of her husband. Her world shatters again when Ashton goes missing. Is she to blame for her daughter's disappearance, or is something far more sinister at play? As her reality twists and fractures, she must confront the impossible before she too vanishes. Without a trace, Black Star is a psychological sci-fi thriller that bends the mind and defies reality. Readers across all genres will enjoy this fantastical tale. A black star is a supernova, an exploding star. Some people believe that when it dies, it disappears. Yet, in reality, it shines through the darkness. Order your copy right now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, Kobo, and BlackStarTrilogy.com. Black Star. How far would you go to find the truth? There's a force greater than fear, a force you can't escape, and a force that delivers justice when the world fails to do so. The Roth Files podcast is where horror, suspense, and the supernatural intertwine, and where every action has consequences. Recent episodes include The Hitchhiker. Melvin Edwards always thought himself untouchable, a predator lurking in the dark. But tonight, something darker is lurking for him. And in Spencer Newbrook's special visit, he's a man devoted to his work and blind to the family he's left behind. But he'll receive a visitor from the other side, and this time, it's personal. In The Courageous Fear of Emma Watson, she thought she left the past behind. But when her nightmares become real, will she stand and fight or be swallowed whole by terror? Find out when you tune into the Roth Files podcast. Some call it fate, others call it karma, others call it the Roth Files podcast. Now streaming on Spotify and Amazon Music. Add the Roth Files podcast to your podcast playlist if you dare.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Zelensky has made an insane move, okay? What he has begun doing is going to be the end of, he's helping us and the people of Ukraine, even though he doesn't mean to. But he is challenging Trump. You know, he said this week, President Trump is spouting off Russian propaganda. So he's calling him stupid, calling him a tool for Russia. This war in Ukraine is going to be over, and it's going to be over. It could be any day. I would not be surprised if they're. We may not even know until it's over, and how it's going to play out. At some point, we're going to get some breaking news sounder or some big announcement on Truth. And it's just going to almost come out of nowhere that President Trump and Vladimir Putin have signed a peace deal and the war's over. And Zelensky's not going to want to sign it. He also lied to President Trump. He took that agreement to give us the minerals to pay us back for all the money we've been funding his war with. They tore up that agreement. So he lied to President Trump, and he's personally attacking President Trump, calling him a puppet for Putin and stupid and all these things. But this is going to be really a fascinating thing to watch when President Trump comes out and says, I hold in my hand the peace treaty signed by Putin. The war in Ukraine is over. And Zelensky won't accept it. What's going to happen? And what will the world view be? You know, Ukraine is being 100% funded by the United States. So when we cut off the money, how long can they get by without us sending new money? We're going to find out real quick, because there's a very good chance that Zelensky refuses to sign it. And because to sign it means that he's going to have to leave the presidency. He's got 4% approval rating, 4%. And not here, 4% in Ukraine. So why does Zelensky have such a low approval rating? If you went to Hollywood, California, he'd have like a 99% approval rating. You go to these leaders of Europe, he'd have 100%. Why in Ukraine is Zelensky's approval rating 4%? It's because they know what's really going on. Either they want to be a part of Russia or they want the war to end, and they know he's prolonging it, and Ukrainians are dying because he's a greedy dictator. I've never seen something quite like this. I don't know if the world has ever seen something like this, where two countries have negotiated a peace and one of the countries won't accept it, especially the country that can't even support itself, right? They can't support themselves. They can't fund themselves, and they certainly aren't strong enough to beat anyone, especially Russia in a war. I mean, it's just too big of a country. We'll find out. Now, I wanted to share this with you because this just, I tell you, you find everywhere Trump hate. There's just Trump hate everywhere. And Democrats, they show all the time how they really feel about us. Tom Hanks on Saturday Night Live the other day, with that thing. I talked about that on the last podcast. And Tom Hanks, what he did was show how the Hollywood elite feel about us. I give him credit for his honesty and his stupid comments. But listening to how these leftists think about us is insane to me. And I got a new book, and this is a brand new book. And it's a book I've been looking forward to. It's written by a guy by the name of Erik Larson, and the book is called The Demon of Unrest. And this book, it's a history book. And Erik Larson, he's famous for writing a book called Devil in the White City, which was about a guy by the name of H.H. Holmes, if you're familiar with him. He was an insane serial killer at the Chicago World's Fair in the 1800s. And he built this, he didn't build, he took over, he killed a woman and took over her business. And he had this hotel that he had taken from this woman he killed, and he turned the rooms into death rooms. People would check into this hotel, and many people were traveling to go to the World's Fair. They couldn't get out, and it was set up with all kinds of traps. It's a fascinating story. It was a good book, and I read that book many years ago when it first came out, and he wrote this new book, and I was very excited to get it, The Demon of Unrest. And what it's about the period of time of Abraham Lincoln's president-elect period. And back then, they still had the elections in November, but the inauguration wasn't until March, right? Now, I think this one seemed like a long president-elect period, January, not till March, and probably because, it took longer to get around by horse and buggy, right, back then. And it's about his President Lincoln's president-elect period. It's about Fort Sumter and everything that led up to the attack on Fort Sumter, including life at Fort Sumter during that period and all the political, and it just sounds interesting. And, we all know about that period, but I've never really read any detailed accounts of all of that. And when it comes to history, I'm not really so interested in reading about the battles, although they're important and, and all that. I'm more interested in the politics, because the politicians are the ones that are responsible for the battles happening, right? Because they cause these wars. And the Civil War, I always call the Civil War I started calling it this after January 6th, but I call the Civil War the Democrat insurrection against the federal government. And the Democrats don't like you doing that. The Democrat insurrection against the federal government of the United States is the real name of that war. But anyway, so this book, I was really looking forward to getting this book, and I even got the hard copy. It was only $14 on Amazon. I was very excited to get it, and I got it a few days ago, and I didn't have time to read it. And I just started to read it last night, and I only got through a couple pages. It's called The Demon of Unrest, a saga of hubris, heartbreak, and heroism at the dawn of the Civil War. And I did something that I do not often do when I read a book. And I know for a fact that most people don't read the author's introduction to a book. How many of you skip right over that and go right to the chapter? Almost every time I go right to the first chapter and skip over the author's introduction. I have no interest in the author's introduction, but I did this time. I wish I would not have, because it pissed me off so much. I only got through 4 pages, actually 3. I only got to the 4th page of the first chapter, because what this author, Erik Larson, wrote in the author's introduction pissed me off so much. Listen to this. This is the introduction. He wrote, "A note to readers. I was well into my research on the saga of Fort Sumter and the advent of the American Civil War when the events of January 6th 2021 took place. As I watched the Capitol assault unfold on camera, I had an eerie feeling that present and past had merged. It is unsettling that in 1861, two of the greatest moments of national dread centered on the certification of the Electoral College vote and the presidential inauguration. I was appalled by the attack. And then he goes on. And, obviously, it was not an assault on the Capitol. I mean, we know what really happened, and that's why these J6ers have been pardoned by President Trump. But when I see his never Trumperism in the author's introduction, and when I was reading the description for this book before I bought it, there was criticism of Lincoln, which you rarely see because Lincoln freed the slaves and was killed by the Democrats for doing it. Lincoln's almost kind of looked like as a saintly figure in the country. The description of the book was talking about Lincoln's incompetence leading to the Civil War. And I thought, what? I've never heard of such talk. It was bizarre to me to say something like that. And now I know this guy is a rabid liberal lunatic. Now I'm going to still read the book because I'm interested in that period in Fort Sumter. And it's always good sometimes to hear what these liberal lunatics think because you can better understand them. But these never Trumpers that, what the never Trumpers don't understand, they like to say we're in a cult. But the truth is they're the ones in the cult. A cult's a tiny little group. We're the majority of the people, MAGA, And I wonder if this book would have come out after the election, would he have included that attack on MAGA in the author's introduction of the book, or would they have left that out? Because this book was written when they didn't think Trump was coming back, right? They didn't think Trump was coming back. They thought Trump was going to be in jail, he was going to lose, or worse. Okay, you know what I mean. I don't have to tell you. So a lot of it's one of the reasons Doge is finding so much information is because there's records of everything. And the reason there's records of everything is they didn't think anybody would ever be coming after them. They didn't think Trump would win. Yesterday he was talking about what a risk he took in running, that if he would have lost, what could have happened to him? Yeah, that's right. He would have gone to prison or worse. And what President Trump was talking about last night is that if he wouldn't have won, they would have left him alone. But because he challenged them and ran, they threw everything at him, like breaking into his home. Okay. And when you see the sacrifice that Trump has made to run for reelection, and you hear people write perversions like this guy wrote in this book, and it's too bad because I thought the guy was a smart person, but he's a stupid person to say that MAGA assaulted the Capitol when we now know pretty much exactly what happened, especially after Tucker Carlson released that footage of the Capitol Police taking the shaman around, trying to find an unlocked door in the Senate chamber so that national pool photographer who was waiting could be there to take that picture. And he still writes something like that. And here's a problem we have with January 6th, okay? And here's the problem. Like this guy, Eric Larson, he writes these history books. History books are written by liberals, okay? They're written by liberals and the media, okay? And, one of the big problems we have with conservatives and MAGA in general is that we don't have enough people who see the world correctly in some key positions, right? Teachers, college professors, historians, writers. We have to do a real mass recruitment of people like that. We need history books written by people that have their head on straight. And I don't mean conservatives that are going to sugarcoat everything. What I mean, it's like on the Supreme Court when Trump's picks to the Supreme Court, great people, they call them constitutionalists because they make their rulings based on what the Constitution says, not what they wished it said, right? As opposed to liberals on the Supreme Court, that rule how they think things should be, not what the Constitution. That's where you hear that term activist judges. And what we have are activist historians. And because we have liberal activist media and liberal activist historians, it's very possible that the historical record of the United States is going to record that MAGA assaulted the Capitol on January 6th. Okay. I mean, they're already the news accounts, this guy's filth in this book that I wouldn't have bought the book if I'd have read that introduction first. I wouldn't have, but now I got it. I paid $14 for it. You know, what are you going to do? I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You know, I can't tell you enough goodness about Dr. Appleton. He really is amazing. You know, his laser away pain treatment, you've heard me talk about it many times. It's rid me of pain 7 times. I meet listeners all the time who have been rid of their pain thanks to Dr. Appleton. It works. It's 100% painless. You don't even feel it when he's doing the treatment. It works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. And when I meet listeners, what they tell me is they start telling me about how they're not in pain anymore because of Dr. Appleton. And then at the same time, they have their hand on the part of the body that used to hurt. And it makes me really feel good to see so many people that are living their life pain-free now thanks to Dr. Appleton. There's no drugs, no medications at all, just that laser treatment. And again, you don't even feel it. There's not even a sensation. You don't even feel it. It's amazing. No shots, no injections, no downtime. And of course, appointments are not needed with Dr. Appleton. And we've had listeners who have traveled from all over the United States to see Dr. Appleton. If you are coming from out of town or out of state and you would like to make an appointment, you can. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call, all right? And say bye-bye to your pain. I'm Brian Craig. We're going to take our break. We'll be back with our final segment. Don't go anywhere. There's so much more to cover. We'll be back.
Are you a parent of a child who dreams of becoming a basketball superstar? That new book from author Timoteo Daramola, Sports Superstar IQ Builder for Kids. Basketball will teach them how to do just that. This book is a fun and interactive way to boost your child's basketball knowledge and their critical thinking skills. Packed with exciting quizzes, brain teasers, and interactive activities, it's designed to entertain, challenge, and inspire young learners. Your child will learn fun facts about basketball, test problem-solving skills, and develop teamwork, all while having a blast. Perfect for kids ages 3 to 12, whether they're just starting out or already love the game. Help your child focus, learn, and grow, all through the magic of basketball. Sports Superstar IQ Builder for Kids. Basketball from author Timoteo Daramola. Order your copy right now on Amazon and watch your child's basketball IQ soar. Unleash your potential and equip yourself with elite sports and fitness gear built for champions, and take your game to the next level with SimpleStrength.store. Start with their breathing trainer respirator. Whether you're an athlete, a singer, or just want to improve your endurance, this powerful device strengthens your lungs, boosts your stamina, and enhances your overall performance. You can increase lung capacity without exhausting workouts. Adjust the resistance to match your fitness level. It's compact and portable too, so you can train anywhere, anytime. You'll breathe stronger, perform better, and feel the difference. You'll also find everything you need for running, sports, fitness equipment for your home, and much, much more. And at SimpleStrength.store, free shipping on all orders, site-wide. That's right, free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Gear up with performance-enhancing sports and fitness equipment designed for champions just like you with SimpleStrength.store. Have you been chasing financial freedom your whole life, but still find yourself living paycheck to paycheck? You're not alone. But ask yourself this: what if wealth wasn't just about money, but about faith, purpose, and lasting success? Author Mario R. Andre unveils the path to true financial independence in his book, Faith and Money Relations, available on Amazon. Faith and Money Relations is a blueprint for building wealth through faith and smart strategies. With this book, you'll learn how to convert your income into portfolio and passive earnings. Discover how to manage debt, grow multiple income streams, and create a life where money serves you, not the other way around. Author Mario R. Andre's approach is grounded in faith and designed to help you break free from corporate constraints and build wealth that stands the test of time. Are you ready to unlock your potential? Then order your copy of this must-read and life-changing book, Faith and Money Relations, from author Mario R. Andre. Available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Step up your style with the hottest designer brands. Nike, New Balance, Vans, Timberland, even the bold luxury of Balenciaga. It's all waiting for you at ShoeEmporium.com. That's ShoeEmporium.com. The freshest kicks, the sharpest fits, and all at unbeatable prices. Don't miss out. Shop now before they're gone. Shoe Emporium, where style meets status. Visit ShoeEmporium.com today. Shoe Emporium. Drip starts here.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show podcast. I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, guys. And, you know, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of the episode. And Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, all right? And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names I'm going to go through now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, John S, Frank, and Dale. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. Okay. Oh, man. So this just came to my attention during the break. Mark Levin defies Trump. Listen to this. Fox News' Mark Levin delivered a rebuke of President Donald Trump's rhetoric about the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine on Wednesday, debunking a series of false and misleading claims made by the president. What? On his radio show, Mark Levin delivered a history lesson on Russian dictator Vladimir Putin's rise to power in various crimes while going to bat for Ukrainian President Zelensky. Remember, how many times have I told you guys, never trust a never Trumper? I know Trump brought Mark Levin into the mix, but I said, we always got to keep our eye on him. Trump has been scathing in his criticism of Zelensky this week, exonerating him for not holding elections, as well as supposedly being responsible for the conflict and the deaths of millions, despite the fact that Putin invaded Ukraine in 2022 without provocation. It's not true. There was an election issue there that didn't go right, according to Putin. Zelensky wanted to join NATO. Biden told Putin he could go in and take some of Ukraine, and then Biden started talking about Ukraine joining NATO, and hey, come on, they knew this was coming. After running through his history lesson, Mark Levin played a clip in which his Fox News colleagues, Martha MacCallum, who is a big never Trumper, Martha MacCallum, and Jack Keane, who's part of the military-industrial complex, pushed back on Trump before diving into the issues himself. And this part here is a quote from Mark Levin's monologue. Okay, this article's in Mediaite. Now, look, this is Mark Levin, not me. This is Mark Levin. Now, look, I don't have a problem if it's the position of our administration to cut back on support for Ukraine, which I oppose, by the way, then so be it. Elections have consequences, so be it. But I want to make sure the facts are on the table and you, the American people, draw your own conclusions, began Levin, submitting that MAGA doesn't support Putin. Zelensky ordered martial law. He goes on and on and on about what a bad guy Putin is. He goes through the KGB and all this stuff. I'm not going to read through it all. It's his whole monologue, okay? And what the whole monologue is about is criticizing Trump for blaming Ukraine and Biden. He wants to blame Putin. Never trust a never Trumper, okay? A never Trumper, they're like a recovering alcoholic, right? They're sober for a while, and then every once in a while they fall and end up back at a bar and have a couple of shots. Mark Levin, see, this is the thing with Russia. I have no problem with Russia. I don't think most people do. They're not our enemy. They were an ally of us in the Second World War. We had the Nazis on one side, they had the Nazis on the other, and together we defeated them. And if it were not for Russia, how many more Americans and allies would have died, right? And how long would that war have gone on? And would Normandy have been a success if Russia wasn't on the Eastern Front keeping them busy, right? We'll never know, thankfully, because it turned out well. But because we were allied with the Russians, they're not our enemy. They may be Zelensky's enemy, Ukraine's enemy, I don't know, but they're not our enemy. But Mark Levin is of that generation that grew up in the Cold War. Listen, I was born in 1971, so I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and there was a lot of this Cold War propaganda going on. That movie The Day After on television in the 80s scared the living daylights out of me and everybody else in the country. It was like a War of the Worlds kind of thing. It was right. But Mark Levin grew up during that time when there was incredible propaganda and paranoia about the Soviets taking over the world and the domino theory, and we got to be in Vietnam because of the domino theory and all this stuff. And all this talk that, Putin's this and Putin's that. I'm not saying Putin's a good guy, but what good does that do? There is no way that Ukraine or anyone else is going to defeat Russia. The only country that would have a chance of beating Russia would be us, only in a nuclear conflict that nobody can win. So this idea that the war can't end because Putin started it, whatever that argument, it doesn't matter at this point who started it. The only way this war could end is with Ukraine losing, and it's going to go on, and it's going to go on. And if it doesn't end, Zelensky and others in Europe will make sure that it spreads to other countries. They'll make sure they want it to spread to other countries. They want a prolonged war. They talk about, you hear these Europeans saying that Putin wants to take over Poland and Europe. No one wants to take over Europe, okay? Europe is basically one big Islamic state anyway. And why would Putin want that headache? No one cares about Europe. This isn't the 40s, okay? No one wants to take over these European countries. I'm sorry. Putin does want Ukraine because it used to be part of Russia, and he views that as part of Russia, okay? That's the way it is historically. And I understand where he's coming from. I was talking about Abraham Lincoln with that book earlier. Abraham Lincoln's position, as was the position of the United States federal government, is that the states don't have a right to leave the Union. Well, that seems to be Putin's position with these former USSR places like Ukraine that they had. Well, regardless, it doesn't matter what the history is or anything. Russia's not going to be defeated. Ukraine has no chance, and the war's got to end. And when you're negotiating a peace agreement, why would you go out there and alienate and throw in Putin's face all these things? What is the point of that? Mark Levin should be ashamed of himself. In the first campaign, Mark Levin was a never Trumper. I think he was I may be wrong, but I think he was supporting Ted Cruz. I used to listen to Mark Levin all the time, and I hardly listen to any other shows. But when he started that never Trumper crap, I stopped listening to him, just like I stopped listening to Glenn Beck. And I've never gone back. I don't watch his show on Fox. I think Mark Levin's Fox show is boring. Do you think it's boring? I think it's boring. All right. I'm not interested in it. I don't like his show, and I don't like this never Trumper stuff. And I think that Mark Levin still is a never Trumper. And this is an example of it. And what's going on? These two Fox personalities, Jesse Waters and now Mark Levin going after Trump after Trump got shot. And then they tried to shoot him again for this, for the country and to end this war and to do these things. It should be ashamed of himself. He's showing, Mark Levin is showing his true colors. I told you, never trust a never Trumper. That's just the way it is, And even though he was a never Trumper, President Trump brought him back into the mix. And then look what he's doing. He's talking about him like that. After, Mark Levin was out. And I don't mean out with Trump. He was out with he was alienated from his audience because he was a never Trumper, like Glenn Beck. And then President Trump started saying good things about him and saved him. I don't even know if Mark Levin would be on the air anymore if Donald Trump hadn't saved him. And this is how he pays him back. It's disgusting. It really is. Now, I want to tell you guys about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. You know, Tom Laporta is a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. And if you're in the state of Florida, anywhere in the state of Florida, and you need roof replacement or repair, give Tom Laporta a call. He works on every type of structure, every type of roofing material. He can handle any job from small single-family homes to condo and HOA communities with hundreds of buildings. And he does a great job. Residential, commercial, municipal. He even does church roofs. Does a lot of them, actually. And it's, you know, and in Florida, the roof of your building, of your home, of your church is so important because we have hurricanes. There's so many fly-by-night guys. Tom Laporta told me something a few weeks ago I couldn't believe. I believe it. It's true, but I was in shock. A lot of roofers don't have a license. That they can borrow the license from a real licensed roofer and go out and do roofing, which means I could go out, I could borrow someone's license. You pay, I'm sure you pay them to do this. You know, they don't just let you use it for nothing. And I could go out and start doing roofs. What do I know? But it'd be totally legal, even though I don't know anything about roofing. Tom Laporta has his own license, his own certificates. He studied long and hard. And if you saw the books that it looks like a law library, the books that he had to study and learn to get his certifications, to get his licensing. And I made a YouTube video. It's on my channel a few months back and went out and saw his crew working. They are artisans. It is absolutely amazing the work that they do. And of course, you guys know Tom Laporta put a new roof on Steve Kane's house. Give him a call. This is his cell phone number. And I'm going to give you his website, which is laportaroofing.com, but his cell phone number is not on his website. That's the main office number. I'm going to give you Tom Laporta's cell phone number. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602 for Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. Again, online at laportaroofing.com. Well, thanks everyone so much for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig. Make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to me on. I would appreciate that. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Talk to you next time.